All right, so we're going to do some more multiplying polynomials. We're going to start off with one like you would have seen on last night's homework, and then we're going to move to ones that have more terms in it. Just means our box is going to be a different shape. So if I use my box method here, I have a 2 by 2. So here's my 2 by 2 again. Don't worry about space. Make it bigger rather than smaller because you don't want to have to squish everything in. So now I have k and positive 5, and then I have 2k and negative 5. So let's do our multiplication. K times 2k is 2k squared. K times negative 5 would be negative 5k. 5 times 2k would be 10k. And 5 times negative 5 would be negative 25. Again, standard form, I only have one letter to worry about, so that's good. I think on most of these ones I only have one letter. Biggest exponent comes first, so that's 2k squared. And my like term should be on the diagonal, 10k and negative 5k, that would be positive 5k total. And then finally, minus 25. That should be just like what you did on last night's homework. Pretty easy. Yeah? All right. Number 2 would have been on your homework from the night before, so we're reviewing that as well. I have a number out front. It could be out back, but it just makes you just need to make sure that it's connected to the parentheses by multiplication. And I'm going to take this and I'm going to distribute it. I have to distribute it there, there, and there. I have to distribute it to all the parts. So 7 times 5x squared, that would be 35x squared. 7 times x would be positive 7x. And then 7 times 7 would be positive 49. Are we in standard form? Biggest exponent, smaller exponent, nothing. We're in standard form. Okay? All right, now let's get into larger ones. This one I have 3 terms in that first parentheses. So I need my box to be a bit taller so that I have 3 rows going across that box. How many do I need across the top? I just need 2. So I'm going to have something that's a little bit taller than it is wide. I need 3 rows this way and just 2 rows this way. So that's what my box is going to look like. And now I just set up my terms like I did before. 4v squared, negative 2v, positive 6, and then up here, 4v and negative 5. And I do the exact same thing I did before. 4v squared times 4v would be 16v to the third. 4v squared times negative 5 would be negative 20v squared. Now going on to my next row, negative 2v times 4v would be negative 8v squared. Negative 2v times negative 5 would be positive 10v. Last row, 6 times 4v would be 24v, and 6 times negative 5 would be negative 30. Now, I should still be able to get standard form pretty easily. Here's my biggest exponent, 16v to the third, and then my like terms should still be diagonal from each other. There's one. Negative 8 and negative 20 would be negative 28v squared. Here's my next set of like terms. 24v and 10v would be 34v. And then last but not least, I have minus 30. And that's what my answer should look like. Pretty much the same thing, right? Okay. So if I set up my box here again, I need 3 rows and 2 columns. So I need 3 this way and 2 this way. So here's my 3 rows and my 2 that way. So let's plug this in. 6r squared, negative 2r, and 6. And then up here I have r and minus 1. Why don't you take a minute and fill in that box? right here I have 6r cubed, because 6r squared times r, and then 6r squared times negative 1 would be negative 6r squared. Negative 2r times r would be negative 2r squared, and negative 2r times negative 1 would be positive 2r. Last row, 6 times r would be 6r, and 6 times negative 1 would be negative 6. So let's put this all in order. 6r to the third, and then what have I got? I have negative 6r squared and negative 2r squared. That would be negative 8r squared. Another set of like terms. 6r and 2r, that would be positive 8r. Do those cancel out? Positive 8 and negative 8? They do not cancel out because they are not like terms. I can't combine an r squared with an r. Finally, I have minus 6, and that's what my answer should look like. Okay? All right, changing it around a little bit. This time my first parentheses only has 2, so I need 2 rows, but this time I need 3 columns. So mine's going to be wider than it is tall. So it's kind of like, there's my 3 columns, here's my 2 rows. So let's do our k and our 6, and then we have 8k squared, 6k, and negative 7. From here it's all exactly the same. K times 8k squared would be 8k to the third. K times 6k would be 6k squared, and k times negative 7 would be negative 7k. On the next row, 6 times 8k would be 8k squared would be 48k squared. 6 times 6k would be 36k, and 6 times negative 7 would be negative 42. I should still have diagonals. I have 8k to the third. Here's my k squareds. 48 and 6, that would be 54k squared. And then my k's, 36 and minus 7, should be 29k. And then lastly, minus 42. Should have started a little further over so I didn't have to squish my answer in there. Okay? All right, let me help you set up this box, and then you're going to fill up the box. Again, I have 2 in the first one, so that means 2 rows, but I need 3 columns. So let's see, there's my 3 columns. So there's my 2 rows. I have 8n and 8, and then 7n squared, negative n, and positive 7. Go ahead and take a minute and fill out that box. All right, 7 times 8 is 56. N times n squared would be n to the third. 8n times negative n would be negative 8n squared. 8n times 7 would be 56n. 8 times 7n squared would be 56n squared. 8 times negative n would be negative 8n, and 8 times 7 is 56. I'm going to write my answer down here so I don't have to squish it. There's my first one, because it's got the biggest exponent. Now my next one would be my n squareds. 56 minus 8 would be 48n squared. Negative 8n and 56n would be 48n. And then lastly, plus 56. Okay. All right, the last two. The last two are both 3 by 3. Both of these are 3 by 3. So I'm going to need a big old box. It's got to have 3 by 3. So my box is going to be pretty big. Boom, boom, and 2 this way also. So there's my 3 by 3. So let's write this out. I have x squared. I have 5x, I have 8, I have 3x squared, I have 8x, and I have 6. Any difference in the way I multiply this out? Nope. X squared times 3x squared would be 3x to the 4th. X squared times 8x would be 8x cubed. And x squared times 6 would be 6x squared. Remember, we're just adding our exponents each time. 5x times 3x squared would be 15x to the 3rd. 5x times 8x would be 40x. And 5x times 6 would be 30x. My bad, that should be 40x squared right there. Okay? 8 times 3x squared would be 24x squared. 8 times 8x would be 64x. And 8 times 6 would be 48. My like terms should still be on the diagonal. As long as these guys were in standard form, my diagonal should still have everything in standard form for me. So let's see, I have 3x to the 4th. Right down here so I have some room to write it. Here's my x to the 3rds, 15 and 8. That would be 23x to the 3rd. And then these guys, I might need to get my calculator here. 24, 40, and 6. Well, I know 24 and 6 is 30, and 40, no calculator needed. 70x squared. 64x and 30x, that would be 94x. And then lastly, plus 48. That one's a long, ugly answer, but the box sure helps me organize myself. Okay? All right, this last one, let's get it set up, and then you can write your answers. I need a 3 by 3. So take a minute and draw your box. And then fill in, let's see, m squared, 5m, and 8. And then 7m squared, m, and 8. And take a minute and fill that one out. Start filling these out too. There's 7m to the 4th. This one would be m to the 3rd. And this one would be 8m squared. Here I would have 35m to the 3rd, 5m squared, and 40m. And in my last row I would have 56m squared, 8m, and 64. So let's write this out. 7m to the 4th, 35m to the 3rd, and m to the 3rd would be 36m to the 3rd. This one, let's see, 56 and 8 would be, let's see, 56 and 5 would be 61, and 8 would be 69m squared. And then I have plus 48m. And finally, plus 64. Box my answer, and I am done. All right? So I hope that you can see that really we could have however many terms we wanted to. We just adjust our box to make sure that we have enough spaces for it. And then it just makes our answer longer. But this, as long as we've got things in standard form, it makes it a whole lot easier to find our like terms there. All right? Happy studying.